everybody. Hey, it's Melissa with Build a Better Bakery. So excited to have you here today. Let me double check. We are live and ready to go. Don't want to leave anybody out. Okay, perfect. We are all set up here. I can see comments. So if I have any comments coming in today, I can respond live. You are at the hashtag Thursday Fave session right here in the Bakery Business School Facebook group. This group is built for aspiring bakers, those who already have businesses, those that are looking to grow, or literally on step one. We invite everyone to come here into this safe space to hang out. So welcome to this. If you are here on the replay, go ahead and put your hashtag replay so that I know that you've seen this session. And what I want to know in the comments is, how long have you been baking? Go ahead and just throw a number down there so I know kind of what, how many years of experience we have going on right now watching this video. Today's session is a little bit different because I realized that I don't really share too much about my story. I usually use these sessions to help you with a little specific topic having to do with baking business, but I often get questions about, how did I get into baking? How did I get started? And everyone has their own story. So I thought, hey, I'll take this session today to share a little bit with you so you kind of know where I'm coming from. The title of this, right, is 16 years in the baking industry. So I've been messing around in the baking industry for about 16 years in different capacities. And I just want to kind of weave it into a little story for you today so that you kind of know what's going on with me, Melissa. So I will say that what I'm going to use this session for is to kind of lay out what I've done, what I've seen, what I've experienced, and I want to give you a few standout moments, like a few takeaways, aha moments, if you will, that one that goes with every set of experiences that I've had, different places that I've worked, different environments that I've been in, just because I think it's useful. And if you're new to the industry, or maybe you've worked for other people, but you haven't run your own business, you know, there could be some things in here that really resonate with you. So that's what we're going to talk about today. My hope from sharing this with you specifically is that maybe I can help a baker or two kind of fill in some blanks with maybe where you're at, find some answers for what you're looking to do with your time, with your career. And as my story unfolds today, maybe it can help you build on your own story. So if you have questions about anything that you're hearing me talk about, I'm always willing to speak about it. You can send me a direct message too if you want some more info, just to kind of feel out, because I'm not going to give you a ton of info about each, because it is 16 years, a ton of info about each individual area, but I do want to touch on them for you. Hey, Lori. Hey, Anna. Hey, Kelsey. Hey, Leah. Good to see you. 6 years, 7 years. Yes, sounds good. So we're looking at, right now, there's a group of people watching they've dipped their toes in, right? They've been working. So I'm going to get into it. Y'all can share with me anything that you have as well. I'm going to start back in 2004, a little ways back. And the reason I'm starting here is because this is when I enrolled in Truman State University. This is a liberal arts university, but I signed up to be a fine arts major. Okay, so that's what I was doing. I never once considered baking as a career. Honestly, not even a hobby. Okay, not on the radar, not what I was doing. Maybe I baked like 2 times in the dorm oven at best, and it wasn't even anything to write home about. Okay, so starting there, because that is not what I thought that I would be doing. Scooch on to 2006. I'm out of the dorm, I'm living on my own, and your girl needs some money. Okay, I need to get a job. So as I was casually shopping my favorite Hy-Vee, which is a grocery store, and if you're from the Iowa, Missouri area, you'll know what I'm talking about. I was in Hy-Vee and I noticed a cute little sign. It was a little crumpled and it was taped up on the sliding doors, and it said, "Cake decorator wanted." That sounds fun, right? Just sounds fun. Never decorated a cake in my life, 0 experience, but I have an art school ego, okay, at this point. So I'm thinking they might give me the time of day. So I applied, and I stated in my little application that my 2 years of fine art training was a good start to getting qualified for such a position, right? Okay. Thankfully, the manager was desperate, and he did describe to me that he was going to hire me, but I basically needed to stick this landing because he was going to give me a chance, but I didn't have any experience. So he needed me to really pay attention and remind you, I'm in the middle of college living my best life. So that was a big ask. But I went ahead and took the job. And I got my first baking industry position as a grocery store bakery cake decorator. That's how I entered. So I often get asked if someone with an aspiring baking dream, okay, they say, this is what I want to do with my life, but should I take a job at a grocery store? Okay. If you're not ready to start doing your own thing, my answer is capital YES, take the job. What it taught me is if you can get paid to learn, do that. All right. Learning on someone else's dime, giving them some products, some of your time in exchange for the training is 100% worth it. So again, if you see those kinds of opportunities, take them. In this position, I got to learn certain important skills, but specifically speed, not perfection. I want to bring that up. Speed, not perfection. I was doing and achieving consistently. So I didn't really have time to worry about the little things, right? I had to pump product out for this bakery. So we're talking 30 to 40 cakes per shift during the busy season. That's a lot, especially for someone with no experience. I was down to icing a cake in under 30 seconds, designing an entire cake from start to finish to box up in 7 minutes or less, etc. So it's really, kind of like production. I got to learn about displays, how to set them up, how to make demo cakes, how to package items, all about labeling, how retail sales kind of work, how to set up cases, the type of turnover, how to count turnover, how to take orders, how to do customer service. Even though it wasn't super personal, it was still customer service. And generally just working inside of a bakery atmosphere. What are those people like? If someone's showing up at 3 a.m. to make donuts, what are they going to be like at 8 when I show up? That kind of thing, profit and loss, end of the day turnover, stuff like that. So if you decide to work in a grocery store, just remember you're probably going to work your butt off. So if you're signing up for it, they're going to work you. You just need to kind of know that when you're going in. So I was at Hy-Vee until about 2009 when I graduated with my 2 fine art degrees because I stayed an extra year and got another one. And I am degreed in printmaking and ceramics, not in baking, not in culinary, not in cake, none of that. And at this point, I want to remind everyone that I have not made one batch of icing. I have not baked one cake. Everyone on the other side of the bakery did all of that. I did 0 of that. And I was just over there making things look pretty. After I graduated, I moved to St. Louis for a number of reasons that did not include baking. I took a job as an art camp counselor at Lawmeyer Sculpture Park. If you know where that is, it's a really neat place in St. Louis. And I was teaching some rad kids there and decided that I wanted to throw my hat in the ring for a cake designer position at a $1 million bakery. So grocery store with no experience to $1 million bakery. That's what I thought was a good plan because, 3 years experience at a grocery store is exactly what they're looking for, right? Like that's a good thought. And I thought it's probably not going to work. I'll just put the application in. It's free to apply, whatever. So I put it in, but I was wrong. Okay. They were interested because I have the art degrees. I had the same conversation with that owner. I had to stick the landing or no go. So they were going to give me a chance. And this was one of my aha moments. The first one, lesson learned. Baking industry people, the ones who are hiring, may give you a chance, but you have to apply for them to know that you're around, and you have to be able to prove yourself within the first few weeks, which we'll touch on later. But that's important. So go for the things that you want. Give it a shot. If you're not ready and they tell you you're not ready, that's okay. See what, put your hat out there, right? Make sure that people see that you are around. So again, I had the interview with the owner. They were very clear. I had to stick that landing or else. Had a week to get warmed up, I guess. And it was different because I was going from a customer service position at this grocery store bakery where everyone could see me and they could talk to me while I was working to a production kitchen. This is like a ghost kitchen. This is where no client is ever going to see me face to face. I don't take the orders. I don't talk to anyone. I'm just back there filling the orders. So I came in learning under their head designer. It didn't feel that overwhelming because someone else was already there. And I was just going to kind of be like learning the ropes under her. I was going to start up as her assistant. That seemed good to me for the transition. Well, guess what? She promptly quit about 2 or 3 months after I started. So she wanted to go start her own bakery, and that's all well and good, except that's not what I was expecting. And so that means that I was the lead designer of a $1 million bakery right then, okay? Because there was no one else there, and they weren't planning on hiring anyone else. So that position, that just kind of happened to me, and it was very overwhelming. If I can describe the highest amount of work stress that there is that I have experienced in my life, it is going to be that. Okay, it's going to be from making like a $30 cake at a grocery store to working on a multi-$1,000 wedding cake in under 6 months' time. It's just not enough. Okay, it's not enough time. And I have no formal training. All right, I've never been to culinary school. I'm just sort of doing it, using my little hands to figure it out. Hey, Allie, good to see you. Hey, Anna. Okay, so lesson learned, second moment. The cake industry is high stress. Some of you might know this, some of you might not. In fact, it is the highest stress I have experienced in my entire experience. Like making different things, stress is the highest. Cake, 100%, yes, cake. You might understand what I'm talking about. If you have another part of the industry that you feel like is more stressful than cake, let me know, because I would be curious. Right now, I have decided that it is cake. Okay. All right. So in this job at the $1 Million Bakery, I basically had to mold into a high-end designer, virtually on my own in a high stress, demanding pastry chef run environment. That is completely different. If anyone's ever worked for a pastry chef, or you are a pastry chef, you might know what I'm talking about. Was I getting paid well? No. Was I too young to really know that? Yeah. Did I find out that they charged customers a rate of 80 cents per minute for me to touch their cake? Did I find that out later? Yes. Okay. Would I trade it or not have done this? No. I'm glad that I had the experience, but it was a lot to take in. So again, I was getting paid to learn. Like I said, always a good opportunity. And although I was scared and I was in pain after long days of working on, like, my little Popeye muscle was really sore all the time, my little squeezing muscle. I was icing my arm every night. It was emotionally difficult for me to be by myself back in this room, cut off from everyone else, trying to make all these huge, big cakes. Pastry chef coming in, like, breathing down my neck. It was not great. Later, we became friends, but at the beginning, I don't think she liked me. So that was difficult. But what I will say is over that time period, I was catapulted into a high-end design caliber in a very short period of time. So it was hard, but I got to save a bunch of time. Additionally, I got to see how a pastry chef would run a bakery, which was a completely new experience for me. What the inside of a $1 Million Bakery looked like, the production of it, what are they making? How are they dealing with product? What are they cutting? What are they bringing in? What kind of orders are they taking? And also just how was it set up in general? They also had a catering brand, so I could see the catering side of the business, and they had a food truck branch, so I could see that as well. So I got to see a lot of really good information, especially now that I help people build their businesses. Everyone's got something different going on, and those are all important aspects that a lot of you might actually be thinking about or already running for yourself. So note that I did not bake or make any products at this bakery, only finishing the items, designing the items, and packaging the items. All the recipes at this particular place were proprietary, and I was not allowed to know any of the recipes. Only the pastry chef could know them. So that's how that went. Fast forward to 2010, married my husband. He joined the Army. We had to pack up and move to a very small town in Missouri. So complete shift, had to leave that place. Left on a really good note. It just was started off a little rough. I swore I was going to take some time off to myself. I was going to garden. I was going to have my chickens. I was going to be a stay-at-home wife. I didn't have any kids of my own yet. So that's like, I was going to do this. Sounded like a great plan. We arrived, we got set up. But once we moved in, I noticed a little bakery in a tiny little town. And I was like, what's that about? And for some reason, one day I decided to call and ask them, like, hey, what's going on? How's it going? Just very generally. And she told me to stop by and say hi and chat. So I did. I went in a couple days later. I popped in to see what was going on. And she literally said, come back here. Don't know this person at all. Okay. At the time, she said, come back and look at this. She took me behind the counter to the back room. She handed me an icing bag. She showed me a badly iced cake. And she just said, please help me. And she walked away. And that is how I got that job. So I had not told her my name. She hadn't hired me. Maybe I told her my first name. She hadn't hired me, but I finished that Elmo book, like a little book with Elmo drawing, like a pro. Okay. Finished the cake and then I left. So anyway, I started the next day. This bakery was a little bit of a disarray because the owner was just overwhelmed. She pretty much was just employing family and friends, and she was lacking basic organization skills. Classic story of a small bakery in a small town that like maybe grew a little too fast, and she just wasn't ready for that. So this was actually my first experience where I walked into a bakery and began making changes and restructuring right away. I'd never done that before. Every other time when I walked in, everything had been set up and it had been working. This place was not working. So you might say this was actually my first experience with in-store mentorship, although at the time I didn't realize that's what I was doing, but that's definitely what I was doing. So another lesson learned here is that even in a small town, I hear a lot of people say, well, I live in a small town, I can't make any money, I can't charge any money, I can't make certain things. You can definitely make a name for yourself and hold a higher standard. You can do that. So you don't necessarily have to feel restricted just because you live in a place with not as many people. There are going to be people around you that want that standard as well. So having a strong value ladder of offers and products that span entry, core, and high end, having all three of those sections in your value ladder is going to help you attract a wide range of customers because you're kind of speaking to those three groups all at once, right? A lot of times bakers don't really think about the high end offer, and that's where we lose a lot of those clients. So that's actually why we're covering it in the Leads in May in our challenge if you want to join, so that you can hit all three of those sections no matter where you live, small town, big town, city, wherever. And it's going to allow you to serve at the highest level no matter your location. So just know, and that was a lesson learned there, is that when I came in and switched the value ladder up, she was able to generate a lot more income with basically the same amount of customers, maybe a little bit more, because they're now starting to see the offers that she was lacking before. She started offering them and they started purchasing them. And so you can make this stuff work, right? Market research and strong offers are key in a small area. We were only in this location for about 9 months. He was there for an Army school. But it was a completely different bakery altogether when I left. Like I said, I helped her restructure, organize. And again, I did not bake anything and I did not make anything outside of the design. She was taking care of all that. I was designing everything for her. I dealt with the retail stocking, the case planning, the product planning, et cetera. So then we moved to a larger city right outside of Nashville. It was called Clarksville. You might know what I'm talking about, in Tennessee, where I immediately interviewed and landed another designer job with a pair of lady owners. The lesson learned from this specific job is that you should choose your team wisely. Everyone working at this location was either family or a close friend, which isn't always bad, but that's kind of the vibe of the place. I was the only outsider. And I was sad to discover that after a couple months of working there, one of the owners had been embezzling pretty much the whole time. Okay. And she left town and it was this whole thing. So they ended up needing to shut down and it just ruined their whole business essentially. But the whole story doesn't end there, because a person showed up and they said, I want to buy everything in this place. I want to buy the location. And he came in and swooped in and bought everything. He also said, if you stay with me as the lead designer, I'll pay you more. And so I stayed. Okay. So I actually switched companies, but it was all in the same building. And it was all the same stuff. It was just different owners. Additionally, when I found out that first business was closing, I got nervous because I can't control if someone's embezzling. I can't control that. And honestly, I just got tired of having to, deal with other people's stuff when it came to me getting a paycheck. So I decided to open my own business from home on the side, which is exactly why you're in this group and something that you might have already done. And this was back in 2013. So at that time, I was working for one owner and I had started my business in tandem. I was doing both of those. And as I mentioned, I did it because I didn't want to have to rely on the storefront making money. or getting money and a paycheck. I wanted to be able to do it on my own. I knew how to, supply the services. So I just started very slowly on my own. But that meant that I had to finally put in a ton of effort and time to learn how to actually bake for myself. And after all those years of experience, I understood that signature recipes are where it's at. I am not going to bake box cake. I'm not going to use someone else's recipe off the internet because I felt like it had to be mine for me to be able to get behind it and market it. That's just my personality type. So I spent a lot of time working on that. And because no one had really asked me to do any of this as part of their businesses, it was all new to me. I had to start from scratch. I had a lot of messed up cakes. I did a lot of research on cake formulas and cookie formulas and icing formulas. And after everything was said and done, I had a small but mighty menu. I come up with a few things that I thought were just stellar, and I created my menu from there. So that meant at that time, I was the lead designer for a storefront, as well as running my own business on the side. And I was actually still teaching paint and sip classes too, for fun and profit. So I did all those three things at the same time. My time with this particular storefront gave me a taste of managerial duties, hiring, case and retail planning, procedural setup, which is important, branding options, purchasing and inventory, and more. This was a different situation where it was basically just me and the owner. So I was taking on a lot of, again, mentorship opportunities, but I didn't really understand that's what I was doing at the time. I was his employee, but we were kind of working on this together. And what was interesting is it had always been his dream to run a bakery, but he never actually worked in a bakery. So I was teaching him about that as well. We were very much a great team, a really good friend of mine. We had a really great environment built together, having a lot of fun, and eventually brought on some amazing and some not so amazing employees. So the lesson learned from this is twofold. Number one, there will come a day in your career when you feel like you want to take the thing that you love dearly, the thing that you're really good at, the thing that you've been working on all day, and you want to throw it into the middle of the road and watch everybody run over it. Someday that's going to happen. It might have happened to you already. You can let me know in the comments. Do you feel that you've been there? Because this is burnout and it happens to everyone, and it happened to me at this time. Okay, didn't expect it, just happened one day. Number two takeaway, hiring is crucial. If you've ever hired anyone, you know exactly what I'm talking about, especially if you're trusting someone to show up early, have a key to your building, any of that. Trusting them to know what they're doing when they're working on people's orders, etc. Working interviews are a must. If you don't know what that is, send me a message. Photo proof of experience is a must. So if they tell you they can do XYZ, I need to see a picture. It didn't happen. And you need to be picky. I know that's hard because it's hard to find people to work in a bakery, but I'll tell you, bad employees will ruin like your whole week. So try to avoid that. Okay. After a few years, I had to leave that position due to, again, another Army move, but I had this little budding business on my own to move with me this time, which is new to me. So this would have been my very first business transition. And it would be the last time that I work inside a bakery as an employee. So this is my full on and leaving on good terms with him. I've left on good terms with every bakery I've ever worked at, but now I'm doing my own thing. Miranda says, is that where you met Gwendolyn? Yes. Yeah, me and Gwendolyn taught together. We did. Okay. So I left Tennessee. We came back to Missouri for another stint of time. I worked my business from a small rural home out in the middle of the sticks, servicing a few select larger areas, including the military community and including the Ozarks destination area, because that's where a lot of weddings happen. Many lessons were learned from this time, as you can imagine, but the one that sticks out the most took place after I had my first baby. So in that transition from Tennessee to Missouri, I did a great job moving to the new location. I did everything. I've talked about it before, the steps to transitioning. We cover it in the Elite. It's really important. I did everything right. I had an order placed for over $200 24 hours after we arrived to location. Hadn't even unpacked my clothes yet, slept on the floor the night before. I was not ready to be accepting orders. but they were coming in, so I took them. And from there, it was consistent work. Even in a tiny little rural town, didn't matter. Because I told you, if you find the market gap, if you figure out what people are needing, if you start speaking to the right crowds, they're still going to be able to see you come out of the woodwork and start using your services. A lot of times, I think people miss out on opportunities because they think certain things about the area, but they haven't actually tried. So I had consistent work. I decided to stop working 2 weeks before I went into labor and then start back up with orders about 3 months after my baby was born. Big mistake. Okay. Not going to work. It's just too much stress for me personally to be a new mom and work on important things like weddings. Like I don't have enough. Husband's in the Army, not always there. Okay. So I decided to place a minimum order of $100 to get people to leave me alone. All right. I didn't want to talk about small orders anymore. I just maybe took some of the big ones, but it didn't work. It did the opposite. I was learning about value pricing. I didn't realize I was doing it, but I was value pricing. I was using pricing as marketing. I didn't realize that. I was targeting an audience that I didn't realize I was targeting through that minimum price, excuse me. So that was all something new for me too. And I was also learning about those boundaries and keeping myself healthy while baking for others. So the lesson learned from this transition was I really only wanted to serve if it was at the highest level. I didn't want to put out subpar product. I didn't want to take someone's order and not being able to do a very good job on it. I wanted to make sure that I had a boundary set up. So every time I pumped something out, it was amazing. I didn't want there to be mistakes. I didn't want any of that, right? I wanted it at the highest level, but I had to stay healthy to do that. So your customers deserve the best too. And sometimes that means that you have to give a no. For them to get the best service possible, it has to be a no, or else the other option is not the best service possible. You can't be everything to everyone and take care of yourself. Many of you know this already. It's good to hear it out loud, to say it's validating to know I can give no's because I need to serve at the highest level. I'm not doing that, not serving any other way. It's got to be good. So after all that was over, we moved again in 2018, and I'm currently still in the highly isolated Mojave Desert location with my family. So since 2018, I've been in this same location. Right now, I split my time between hanging out with you all online and working like crazy for my local community because I still really like to bake. I took some time off, which I'll mention in a moment, but I really enjoy the feeling of being a part of people's celebrations, being able to be creative. I like being in the kitchen, weirdly still. Those things are just feel good to me. So here in the community, I work on corporate orders, subscriptions. I've created some online classes. I do local classes. I do custom work, lots of stuff going on, and I am plastered all over this place and in every little nook and cranny, and I've made all the connections. So I'm feeling very rooted here. We're probably going to move again in a year, and I'm a little nervous about that. But so far, everything's going great here in this location. And I also want to mention, this place is 6 miles wide. So again, to the respect that even if you live somewhere isolated and small, you can still run a profitable baking business. I've done it now three times in 3 different small places. It can be done. All right, so everything's going well here. And remembering back to 2019, right after we moved here, I had this wild hair. I thought, why not see what the online world is like? Instead of jumping right into baking again, like I always do. I do it every time. I get busy right away, and I don't have any time to really expand on what I'm doing. I'm just kind of doing the same thing over and over again. So since we were in a new location, I thought this is a good chance. I've transitioned. Let's see what I can do. And I was curious what online space would feel like because I knew it was going to be a lot different than working locally. I started thinking about the instances where I had mentored another baker, which I talked about a couple different people. There's more than that, but those are just the 2 I brought up. And it just feels different. It's a different type of fulfillment than what I get from baking. I'm sure you guys have experienced handing over a beautiful product. What does that feel like? Getting a great review, having people tell you it was delicious, seeing your photos in a magazine. looking at your cake in someone's wedding pictures, looking at that first birthday smash cake, seeing your dessert table set up at the corporate events. There's all these really good feelings that come with baking in person, but mentoring people is like a different type of fulfillment. I'm kind of living vicariously through them as they work through their businesses and build it up on their own different journeys. So it's not necessarily better or worse, it's just different. And although I wasn't sure what I was really doing, I just knew that I wanted to be out there. I wanted to check it out, to try it out. So I did have to take some time up from baking custom work, because we all know that takes a lot of time, to build the online skill set for about 2 years. So I took a 2-year break from baking in person. And I'm not inherently a tech savvy person at all. 0%. I would prefer not to be on the computer, to be honest with you. I like to do other things. So it was very much a learning curve for me, very much a learning curve. And at this point, I've got online courses, a few websites, a mentorship program, a few Facebook groups, hundreds of videos, and a handful of downloads all under the belt, right? Over those 2-3 years, I've taken time to make those things. And I can say that the lesson learned is you're not going to be good at everything, especially not right away. You won't. I'm telling you now that you're not going to be good at it, but you should expect that. You should expect that that's going to happen, rather than saying, if I'm not good at it, I'm not going to do it, because that's not the reality, right? Everyone's not good at it. So embrace the newness, embrace the wonder, embrace the mistakes, because every mistake means you're trying. Every mistake means you did something, you've learned, and now you're going to do it better next time. It's almost impossible to do it perfectly the first time, right? There's always going to be a mistake. So embrace those difficult days. I had to embrace them as well, and I still do every day. It can be hard as you get started doing something new. So especially if baking business is new to you, you might have days like this. If you feel the desire to have a thing in your life, whatever that is, just go for it, because no one else is going to go for it for you. No one else is going to do that. It has to be you to take the steps. It might not be, I still might not be the best techie person in the world even now, but I sure know a ton more than I did before. So in my mind, that's a win, right? I feel like I'm winning. And so here we are, almost 3 years, almost to the 3-year anniversary for Build a Better Bakery. Almost 3 years in, we're talking right now, I'm hanging out with you online. Thank you to everyone who supported me with a like, a follow, a purchase, a message, any kind of conversation we've ever had. Every single one of you is important to me. Although I've got other things going on in my life, if you're sending me a direct message, I will see that. If I've missed something that you've posted online, if I've missed a message, just give me another one because I have a lot of things going on the phone. So reach out if you need anything. That's why I'm here. And if I can help literally just one baker build a better business today, then my efforts are well worth it. Even just one, because that's all that matters. One person being affected is what I'm going for. Watching y'all blossom and thrive and enjoy life is just a thrill. Because I love baking, you love baking, and that's why we're here hanging out together. So thank you for sharing just a little bit of your journey with me. If you're commenting anything in the comments about what you're up to, how long you've been baking, where you're located, what you're interested in, I would love to hear about it. That is my story for the day. I could talk forever, but I wanted to just fill you in on where I'm coming from. So of course, I hope you all have a lovely day, and thanks for being you. Thanks for being a baker. Thanks for hanging out. All right, so glad everyone's here. Have a great Thursday, and you can message me, post in the group. You can chat in there, and I'll see y'all later. Okay, bye.